Sandwiches. Long, good, classic food enjoyed by all, where you either enjoy a nice grilled cheese or whatever else you enjoy cold. They never disappoint. Wait, is that a gross-ass veggie sandwich? Anyway, besides that, today's video I thought we could talk about such. My favorite food, sandwiches. So you just sit back, relax, and enjoy a nice sandwich, and let us get on to our journey that I'm very sure I'll mess up sharing facts on. So, where do we begin? Ah, that's right. It was 1762. A gambling game going on between the Earl of Sandwich, I'm not kidding, you could look that up, it is literally true, versus whoever fucking else, probably the neighborhood sheriff, I ain't got a clue. A classic gambling game was going on. The fourth Earl was in a good streak, as we're left to believe, and during the time, dinner was served. Now before we continue, I could already imagine some of you going like, this doesn't seem so interesting. Well, just you wait to realize that gambling tables did not allow you to eat at the table. I know it's ironic it's in the name, but besides that, the Earl did not want to move away from the table. His buddies, on the other hand, couldn't give less of a damn. So in his time of thinking, he called upon requesting 2 pieces of bread and a piece of meat. I'm very sure his friends at the table are going like,
yes, of course. Yes, such a delicious meal for a robust man your size.
Little did they know, in the middle of their game, as soon as he got it, he put the meat between 2 pieces of bread, and that day coined the term sandwich. Now, I know the Earl didn't really make bread, or at least bread in general, but I mean, there probably was some inbread, if you know what I mean. Oh, geez, royalty was not ahead of its time. It's still ironic considering it's popularized in America, not to also mention that 14 years later, the American colonists decided to get away from Britain, and just like the Brits stealing everything, took the sandwich recipe. Please don't hate me for making that joke, I just wanted to make you laugh. However, though, when it does come to food, best to thank America, because they stole it. I am not helping myself right now, oy vey. I think besides the fact that a sandwich was not called a sandwich beforehand, it was actually called these one of 2 things, a bread and meat, or a bread and cheese. Or should I say, the most basic snitch alert I've ever seen in my entire life. Why did we choose this? There wasn't really a lot of sandwich history that I could find during those times, but sandwiches in the 1920s though, the roaring 20s, before the black market decided to crash on us, made it popular. I know some of you are probably curious about during those times in the 1700s if sandwiches ever got more popularized. Well, the ironic part is, and most obvious, no. And granted though, that's not even the oldest sandwich back in that time. It actually dates back to the Zhou dynasty in 1046 BC, ancient China. My credit score is gonna go up for this. Anyway, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this, but it's called, if I'm correct, a rojamu. Mainly a pork and flatbread sandwich. And if you're curious, yes, the bread was made with yeast. I don't know why they had to clarify that, but they had to clarify that. And if you're curious what's inside of it, mainly just pork. Add green onions, add barbecue sauce. I don't know, don't give a damn. Neither do the Chinese. It's their sandwich. You eat it. But anyway, back to the 1920s. Throughout time, the sandwich actually did get more popular. The first Blimpie's restaurant opens in Hoboken, New Jersey, and a year after, Pete's Super Submarines, which would later become Subway in due time, opened in Brideport, Connecticut. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing these town names. I don't like these weird names. But as yet time advanced and went on, we had many different types of sandwiches known by different regional names, such as the Sub, the Hoagie, the Grinder, the Hero, the Club, and this last one that I never really heard before, the Dagwood. Why the hell do you call it that? And besides that, I tried to look up some history about pulled pork sandwiches, but it mainly started in the southern states of the USA, mainly brought in by Spanish settlers when they arrived to America. Sadly, that's the most information I can get. But with bad news, there is good news. And the good news being that we still have more to go over. Let's go over the different types of sandwiches, shall we? Let's start off with the first sandwich on the list, the hoagie. It first originated and was made in Philadelphia, or at least in the area of Philadelphia, during World War I. What a great time to be making a sandwich. This was mainly during the time where Italian immigrants who worked on Hog Island shipyard began to basically make the sandwich with either scraps of meat, cheese, vegetables, and condiments that they could find, still making a delicious sandwich. Most people think that before it was called a hoagie, people normally called it a hookie, -1 O. But other people think that because of Hog Island, that's where the sandwich originated with its name. When in reality, more people actually believed it was named after famous jazz musician Hoagie Carmichael. Man, I did not read these names enough. Where he said, and I quote, saying, "Whoever eats these must be a hog." Honestly, I don't know what problem you got. It's just a bunch of meat, cheese, and veggies and stuff. Honestly, this sandwich is more healthy than probably the others I'm about to list, minus the sub sandwich. But of course, before we move on, here's some other facts about it. The inventor for the famous Italian hoagie himself was a man named Dominic Conti. He was basically pushing these out around 1901 and opened a small grocery store in New Jersey during the time where he made his own recipe that he carried with him. May I mind you, he carried that. He did not leave it in the open because he went like, "Hey, who's gonna steal my recipe? Feck you," and then he left. Still, the name hoagie, it was coined in Philly, mainly explaining why it's actually Philly's main sandwich. I can at least imagine looking up into the sky Dominic Conti at least sharing a tear of joy, but instead that tear is a foot-long hoagie that is going to be delicious to eat for the next family that gets it. Anyway, moving on to the next sandwich. You know it, you love it, vegans hate it, and vegetarians are okay with it as long as it has a substitute, the BLT. For those who obviously don't know the name or too stupid enough, the bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. I swear though, BLT has so many more anagram uses like be lovely taxpayers because Lola talks, or be longingly terminated. When it was first created, some actually believe it was a descendant of an English tea sandwich in the Victoria era. I swear I could just be sitting down imagining that conversation.
Oh, yes, Reginald, will you please pass the sandwich? Are you home awful? Yes, scrumptious. Scrumptious bacon and tomato and lettuce and... oh my gosh, is that the cavalry?
Marie Antoinette lost her... oh, hi. Though before I do continue, there are others that say it was made, or could have been made, much earlier. But considering I already threw out the Victorian tea era joke, I'm not going to repeat that again. Back to the point of my craziness. It was first mentioned in a ladies' home journal magazine in 1903. Sounds about right. Not many know when or even where it may have originated from. But the one thing is for certain, many people do love it, and some people do think it's a variation of a club sandwich. Which honestly, I can't blame them. There's not a lot of meat, but you get like one choice, and then 2 vegetables, put on top of some bread, and under some bread, and then you eat it. Where am I going with this? Let's just get on to the next sandwich, which speaking of, as I said earlier, the club sandwich. And honestly, the fact it doesn't strike me as a crime to call it a club sandwich. Again, very sure about this. Very sure about sandwich. Look, they will learn in due time. Oh, hey, welcome back. Now, I know some of you may be asking, Top, what's a club sandwich? Luckily for you, I'll at least tell you what it is. Now, a club sandwich basically has these ingredients. Bread, chicken, lettuce, ham, whatever the hell else you want, bread. It distinctively says, in order to make a club sandwich, or at least tell the difference between a sandwich and a club sandwich, is the piece of lettuce that is in between the meat. That is a necessary thing for a club sandwich. So if any of you dare come at me going like, ugh, so if I put a piece of bread, no. The site said it, that I'm not going to credit because it was basically on Google. But anyway, the freaking thing said it, and I do not need to rest my case. Your Honor, I rest my case. But besides that, though, many think it came from either two different places. Some think it may have originated at the Union Club of New York, no idea what year. And the earliest known reference besides that was in an article of the Evening World newspaper on November 18th, 1889. I'm almost forgetting to mention that the third place that people do think that it was actually invented in a Saratoga club in Saratoga Springs, New York. Can't get more basic than that than copying what town you're in for what casino you run. And if the mafia men are there. But besides that though, there was a man named Richard Confield bringing and making the said sandwich into the Confield Casino in 1894. Meaning, the guy made his own sandwich and decided to just publicly brag about it at his workplace. Just imagine that.
Hey everybody, take a look at this. I made a freaking good damn sandwich.
Ah, damn. That actually looks pretty good. I see the meat and stuff. Can I get a bite?
Why, yes, here you are, my fine sir.
Oh, geez, thanks. No. Damn. Is that chicken? And ham? Wait a minute, is that all that's in there?
Why, of course not. There's also lettuce and tomato in this random sauce that I found across the street. But we don't need to talk about that.
And then after that, it still kept appearing in menus going back to 1899 because everybody loved the damn thing so much. And here's a little fun tidbit for you. In a fictional book called Conversations of a Chorus Girl, published in 1903 by Ray Cardell, it actually was the first book to include sandwich inside of it, let alone a club sandwich. Also, if you want one more thing, New Zealand actually has something called this, but they call it a tea/finger sandwich. And instead of meat, they basically fill it with egg. New Zealand. Besides that, though, let's go back a little bit back to the 20s. Imagine you're in 1929. A streetcar rally is going on. You're all rioting and picket fencing against whatever the hell this is about. And then you meet two promising men who give you a free sandwich called the Po' Boy. Two men named Barry and Clovis Martin invented the Po' Boy, and they just basically gave it away for free for everybody. Short for Poor Boy, it was, again, made in 1929 in the Louisiana, New Orleans setting. Which, may I also add before I continue, the fact that it's named Poor Boy is more ironic to date considering how much it costs to make one right now. And if you also don't know what's in it, shrimp, lettuce, mayo, sometimes tomato. There you go. Enough about shrimp going down your mouth, let's talk about something bigger. The sub sandwich. Top, you know you can't say, well, I thought it would be funny. You know that's freaking a bit too crude, a bit too adult. Look, I'm trying here. The submarine sandwich really has basically no origin that anybody could think about. Granted, people do think it came from Dominic Conti again because of his hoagie thing, but again, nobody completely knows where or when it first originated. But it's theorized that it was made or brought from the U.S. by an Italian immigrant, who again is named Dominic Conti. I swear, though, the sub sandwich origin is so mysterious. It's as mysterious of how I got your credit card information. Yes, I would love to order 15 sandwiches, please. My cat's right near the mic. Now, anyway, to answer your question of why it was named this, it was actually named after seeing the recovered submarine in the Patterson Museum. What submarine was it? I don't freaking know. They just saw a recovered one and said, that's perfect. And if it wasn't obvious enough, they named it the submarine because of its also uncanny resemblance to the real ones in the naval shipyards. I believe this was during World War I and World War II. Or it could just be in general. I don't know. You seen a submarine? I haven't. I don't even know what the hell one looks like. Just kidding. Here's a picture of it. Right there. Now, I know what some of you are already questioning. If Dominic Conti made both the hoagie and the sub, what the hell is the difference? And I will tell you, it's easy as all hell. Like, oh my gosh. Subs have softer bread rolls and cut through the whole roll from top to bottom. Hoagies are harder and have a preferred split in the middle. So basically, think of a hot dog bun. That's basically all you got. Also, here's your fun fact for a submarine sandwich. Some people in the Boston English language, which by the way, I don't know if this is true, call it a spucky. Westchester, New York, call it a wedge. I don't understand it. I don't know who thought spucky was a good idea for a sandwich name, but I'm very sure they were spucked on something to name it that, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, come on! But besides that, there's your father upon grandfathers of sandwiches. Moving on to the next one. Next up, the PB&J Peanut Butter Jelly. Now, if you're curious, the first recipe appeared in the Boston Cooking School magazine of culinary science and domestic economics. In other words, cheap-ass sandwiches. Here's how to make them. Written by Julia Davis Chandler, she's said to basically use what was currently at the time in 1901, crab apple jelly and peanut paste. Man, just hearing those names in general makes my mouth water. Peanut paste. You know, there are also many variations of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yet, it's somewhat strange how many combinations of PB&J there are, yet no one can remember to mind their own business! Along with that, you could swap the peanut butter for some healthier options like almond butter or anything else peanut butter. Look, I'm not a health nut, don't look at me. But if you are curious about the variations, there are many different substitutes. Instead of peanut butter, you could always do honey, add in some sliced fruit with your sandwich, or even do a marshmallow fluff, which is called a fluffernutter, if you substitute the jam, of course. This is an odd one, though. You could instead also add cream cheese, but I'm gonna admit, I don't know if it's for the peanut butter or for the jelly, but if you add cream cheese to a PB&J, I'm gonna look at you funny. And of course, the classic Nutella. Obviously, if you're just gonna do peanut butter and chocolate, just call it a Reese's sandwich. I mean, let's face facts. I get chocolate and peanut butter are not trademarked to call it Reese's, but I don't know what else the hell to call it because it's chocolate and peanut butter. It's Reese's, damn it! Sorry, but besides that, in a Good Housekeeping article published in May 1896, it urged, and I mean this, it literally urged homemakers, or home people, to make peanut butter with their meat grinders. Using nuts in a grinder, I think, is a sentence I never thought I said loudly. But besides that, since the sandwich was always so easy to make, it was even rationed to soldiers in World War II. And if you're also curious, National PB&J Day occurs annually in the US of A after the 1st of April. Honestly, that's a good idea. I mean, just imagine freaking like, hey, you want this sandwich? Oh, sure, thank you very much. What's in the sandwich? Bees? What? Alright, let me get to crazy facts about sandwiches. You are gonna be surprised on this. To start us off, May 4th is also known as National Hoagie Day. Depressing! I'm kidding, it's pretty cool. The average American will consume 1,500 in peanut butter jelly sandwiches before graduating high school. Which, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if you have a nut allergy, how the hell are you still alive? November 3rd will now be my new favorite day, being Sandwich Day. The world's largest sandwich was over 5,440 pounds in Roseville, Michigan, at a place called Wild Woody's Chillin' Grill. It was made on March 17th, 2005. Oh, a sandwich heavier than your mother. Hot damn! If you're curious about it, here's the list. Hold on. 68 kilograms of mustard, 150 pounds, 468.1 kilograms, 1,032 pounds of corned beef, about like that, 117.9 kilograms, 260 pounds of cheese, 240.4 kilograms, 530 pounds of lettuce, and 1,618 kilograms. That is 3,568 pounds of bread, which honestly makes freaking sense. If by chance you're curious, it was measuring 0.44 meters, 17.5 inches thick, and 3.6 meters, aka 12 feet long and wide. Iran themselves actually tried to beat this record in 2008, but they didn't tell everybody to eat beforehand, because literally before the people can measure, everybody in the crowd was going like, "Feck this, I want food." First you got King Henry being greedy, now you got this shite. Our next record in sandwiches would be the longest sandwich. It was announced May 22nd, 2011, 6 years after the largest sandwich was made. It consisted of 3 groups, 136 cooking it and 639 people making it. It took 22 hours to freaking make, and it was made in Lebanon. It was measuring 735 meters, which is 2,411 feet and 5 inches long, and the width only being about 12.5 centimeters and weighing basically 577.03 kilograms, which, if you want that in pounds, that is 1,272.13339 pounds. I'm not doing the math for this shite, you can do that. It was starting at the Notre Dame's Seurs Autonomous School, I don't know how to pronounce any of these words, and ending on Eli Street in Hazem, Beirut, Lebanon. If these are not the names I don't know how to pronounce, I am still saying them incorrectly. Surprisingly, the most popular sandwich in America is just a basic ham and cheese with either mustard or mayo, or even sometimes nothing. If you're curious about second place, BLT. Who else is surprised on that? America, heck yeah, gotta enjoy the bacon while it's still fattening. Here's for any of you rich people who want to flaunt your wealth. By the way, if you do that, the most expensive sandwich is in New York that you can get at a place called Quintessential Grilled Cheese. It's $214 last time I checked out. This is what you get on the sandwich. 2 pieces of French Pullman champagne bread made with Don Perignon champagne and edible gold flakes, white truffle butter, a very rare Calicoli Peldaco cheese, I really hate these words, and a South African lobster tomato bisque for dipping sauce. This says I'm rich and suffer all at once. Did you know that there was actually an Earth sandwich at the time? There was one man in New Zealand and one man in Spain. Both placed a piece of bread on the ground at the exact opposite sides of the earth at the same time, which I'm also not gonna lie, that takes a lot of dedication for friendship. I mean, damn, I can't even get my friends to tell me what the time is without hearing a your mother joke. To my actual friends, if you ever watch this, just please know I couldn't think of a good joke in time. But besides that, when they did that at the exact same time, there were 12,724 kilometers, aka 7,917 miles of earth packed between the bread slices, meaning there were different varieties of vegetables, condiments, meat, but the bread was probably a bit soggy because we got some water in there too, which is honestly disgusting. The most sandwiches being made simultaneously was in a New York City subway restaurant, or at least a couple of restaurants, who had 254 people making sandwiches all at the exact same time. That is more dedication to the workforce than I've seen in a freaking grocery store. Surprisingly, in the US, there are more than about 60 different types of sandwiches. Ah, damn, 60 different types of sandwiches. And I still can't find mine. In America, nearly 7 out of 10 restaurants will offer a sandwich in their menus. If by chance you don't care for the hamburger, the chicken salad, or whatever the hell you're being picky about, stop choosing the chicken fingers, damn it. Eat some variety. A typical American will actually eat about 3,000 sandwiches in their lifetime, meaning I have to double that or beat that amount before I'm dead. Hamburgers aren't actually technically a sandwich. America just decided to call them Liberty sandwiches, even though they originated from Germany. But like I said before, America took it and we fattenized the shit out of it. Also, here's a weird fact. In New York, a burrito is technically a sandwich. The irony in New York clarifies a burrito as that. Okay, maybe it makes sense as to why they call it that. Americans eat about 300 million sandwiches every day, meaning if we actually do the math by doing a whole yearly thing, that means there's a number that I can't find because I'm too lazy to do it. But I'm sure you could answer it. Also, people eat an average of 3.7 sandwiches every week. By the way, I don't know why it's not 4. 3.7? Why the hell are you being wasteful? The record for the most layers on a sandwich is 60, and it was achieved in a park in New York City in 2016. Oh, the pigeons must have been having a heyday, but I'm also curious what the hell did that sandwich look like? And the record for making the most sandwiches was achieved on February 2nd, 2019. A place called Tango Tab made the record by making, and here's the exact number, I am not kidding, 57,662. If this place is in New York, holy shite. About 95% of consumers eat about at least one sandwich a week, meaning our game is never going to end. Before I continue, I just found this on a fact site, so that's the reason why. Surprisingly, the only novel by Jane Austen containing the word sandwich is Mansfield Park. I never read it. I hope it's good. About 12 billion sandwiches are eaten every year in the UK, so now I don't have to hear anybody saying, "Why is it only just America?" Even though America really loves sandwiches. There's also a town in Kent, also in England, named Sandwich, but has no relation with the food or the word. Ironic. Here's also some crazy facts. Elvis actually was a big fan of sandwiches himself, although it was mainly of peanut butter and banana. And then later adding bacon. You know, I knew Elvis died of a heart attack, but I'm not surprised if it was the sandwich that got him first and not dying on the toilet. But besides his famous PB and B sandwiches, he also had something that he made called a Fool's Gold Loaf, which, by the way, get your hearts ready. I can already feel the palpitations and diabetes rising. It was a whole loaf of sourdough bread with a pound of bacon and a whole jar of peanut butter and jelly. How the hell this man lived, I don't know. But besides Elvis himself, there actually are some surprising celebrity sandwiches that people keep trying to make, or at least trying to say that it'd be probably good for said celebrity. Our first one up is the Dolly Parton, a hot turkey sandwich with lettuce, tomato, bacon, mayo, and American cheese, or as I like to call, a basic sandwich, but also, it's Dolly Parton. Or maybe the Tim Robbins, a tall sandwich piled with corned beef, turkey, pastrami, roast beef, and Swiss cheese. I feel my heart skipping a beat. Oh gosh. Or the D. Schneider, a half-pound burger with peanut butter, strawberry jam, bacon, and sriracha sauce. Honestly, I'm actually tempted to try that. And then we have the DeVito, aka Danny DeVito, which is a sandwich with Genoa salami, maple ham, pepperoni topped with Parmesan and mozzarella cheese, served on a hot and crusty Italian bread, aka hot pizza sandwich coming through. You know, I could also end this fact with what struggle sandwiches are called, but surprisingly, there is no name for them. Nobody's ever thought about what to name bread with 3 pieces or just even with ice. Quite surprising, isn't it? Obviously, there's a lot more to sandwiches than we see to meet the eye. Granted, a lot of things have a secret good history to them, but it depends on who wants to read them or who's interested in it. Obviously, I may not have gotten all of your attention in sandwiches, but I at least surely do hope that I've gotten your intelligence widened and a better knowledge on what sandwiches are, how they started, especially getting your taste buds craving something that you probably might have never wanted to try before. But besides that, I thank you all for watching, and I hope you smoothskins have a great day. As I always do say on my streams, I'll catch you smoothskins on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody. And also, enjoy a sandwich for me.